Find the button in the back.
We will start the meeting with patron comments. Some ground rules here. We have, you must speak from the podium, state your first and last name. The board will not engage in questions or comments. All comments are to be directed to the board president. You have 3 minutes to speak. Board members, we have time at the end of the meeting that we can comment and interact in that way. We have one signed up today, and Ken Whitmire, Chief Whitmire.
Good evening. Ken Whitmire, resident here in Angola. I am the chief of police, something that if you would have asked me in 1993 when I graduated Angola High School, I would have never thought in a million years I'd be in this position. And when I started this position in 2000, I would have never thought that I'd be here talking to you about any type of situation that we are here to talk about this evening. And our main goal here is to make sure that the board knows that the communication level between us at the police department and MSD admin has been better than it ever has been in any of the 25 years that I've been with the police department so far. I can say that with pretty good honesty and a lot of heartache at different times with previous administration, whether it's on my side or on your side. But as of right now, working with Matt and the other admin, having their cell numbers, calling them whenever we need, and that sometimes can be very early mornings, and getting things rolling very, very quickly, unlike it used to be in the past. So one thing I would definitely like you guys to know is hats off from our department to you for the hire of Matt in that position, because ever since he has taken the position, I at least have 2 to 3 meetings every single school year with him. Whether it's at our house or his house. He likes his house, he likes his area, but it has been extremely nice working with him. And the situations of the last couple of weeks has been nothing different. When our officers found an issue and making certain that they called the right people at the right time, it was extremely easy because we had all the numbers and people actually answered the phones. So it's extremely, extremely nice. So I just want to make sure you guys are aware of the person you hired and how things have changed, because this would not have happened previous administration. I can't think of one time, and maybe it did happen, that our previous chief, for the 11 or 12 years that he was chief, that he got the opportunity to come and speak in front of you, whether in good terms or bad terms. So much appreciated. And let's see. The other item that has not happened in the past that you guys should be well aware of, as well as the community, is Matt has opened all the schools to us for training purposes. He has allowed us access in the evenings. So sometimes our third shift officers actually go through the school and they actually train with either their dogs or making sure that they know the ins and outs of every one of our buildings. So that is something that we have, as far as I can recall, we've had a single key to a building, but as Matt has found out that the keys are completely different in every single building that you have. So it's very nice to be able to have access to the buildings and be able to train within those buildings, because there is a very specific reason why we are there. So, and really that is all I had for you tonight, was to make sure that you were aware that one, communication level between our department, Steuben County Sheriff's Department, and other communities have access to the administration, and it is extremely easy to get a hold of him and to work with him. So, secondly, is that we are training. We are training in your buildings. Even sometimes Matt may not know when we are training in the buildings, And we have periodic trainings throughout our year that we are just designated to nothing but school-related incidents. So there you go. And you don't have any questions that you can ask right now, correct? It's all at the end of your meeting? Because I'm planning on exiting stage left when I... If you have any questions, I'm definitely willing to answer.
I appreciate the in and out that you have here too. Like you said, it's new to MSD and it's very thankful that it is as it is now.
Yes.
It's on both ends.
Correct. It's
there and it's here, and that's what you have to have to protect our students and our staff.
yes. And that's new to us. I mean, having this line or this level of communication, even with the board, is something that we are not used to at our department at least. So extremely thankful. So thank you.
Unfortunately, the last couple weeks, the issues that have happened out there, but, I mean, getting to see kind of how things go and all that is painful.
Very good. Not a problem. Thank you. Hope everybody has a good evening.
Okay. Next up, approval of minutes. We've had the minutes from the August 20th meeting. Are there any discussions, comments on that meeting minutes? If not, do we have a motion? The vote, please.
Mr. Archibald?
Yes.
Mr. Beard?
Yes.
Boot? Yes. Mr. Caswell?
Yes.
Ms. Maggart? Yes.
Aye.
Mr. Ridenhour?
Yes.
All right, motion carries 7-0. Approval of claims. Any questions, comments regarding the claims? If no, do we have a motion?
Make a motion claims be paid?
I'll second.
And the vote, please.
Mr. Archibald?
Yes.
Mr. Beard?
Yes.
Mrs. Boot? Yes. Mr. Caswell?
Yes.
Mrs. Maggart?
Yes. Mr. Ford?
Aye.
Mr. Ridenhour?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries. Personnel considerations, Dr. Wiedenhofer.
Board, in your packet, you do have today or tonight's personnel considerations. In that packet, you do have resignations, appointments, and a reassignment. So I ask that you approve those personnel considerations as presented.
We have a motion.
I make a motion that we go ahead and approve the personnel considerations.
I'll second.
And the vote, please.
Mr. Archibald?
Yes.
Beard?
Yes.
Boots? Yes. Mr. Caswell?
Yes.
Ms. Maggart? Yes.
Aye.
Mr. Ridenhour?
Yes.
All right, motion carries 7-0. Special reports, ECA risk report. Dr. Penrod.
Thank you. So unfortunately, for the second month in a row, I am up here to say the same thing. Our state has not released our ECA report yet. So we'll leave that on the agenda just in case. We're trying to kind of leave it on and check until the last minute, and Mrs. Swinford checked today, and that is still not on. So we'll leave it on again. We'll get it back to you as soon as we can.
Do they have any consequences or anything for not getting back to anybody?
It's their report, so not really. But, no, and I think, to be fair, I do think they're a little understaffed and stuff, so I mean, I get it, but we do have to bring that to you at some point, so we'll just continue to leave it on there, if that's all right. Thank you.
All right, next up, Goodwill, Mrs. Barr.
Hi, it's good to see you all. It's a beautiful night. I am really excited to be able to share with you some things that have been going on. For the last few years, we've been working with Goodwill in a pre-employment training program. We call it PREETS, Pre-Employment Training Services. And our trainer, Katrina White, has been coming into our schools, working with students with IEPs. She's meeting about 30% of our students at Angola High School, kids that have IEPs. And one of the beautiful things is once she forms a relationship with that freshman, she continues to work with them until they're graduating from school. And in some cases, she's kind of giving them some really good advice and good guidance into how to find a job, keep a job, and even providing some opportunities for some internships. She's also working with our applied skills kids that go to Hamilton. There's a number of those students that she works with, and down at ACE. And our ACE Academy kids, does a lovely job by offering the services to all the students, not just students with IEPs. So again, it's just another layer of preparation for our kids. A lot of our kids, with or without IEPs, continue to participate in CTE programs. They continue to participate with impact programs. This is a kind of an above and beyond kind of a depth to what we're doing. And she does lessons on filling out applications, how to do an interview, those soft skills that kids need in order to make themselves a good candidate for a job. We've seen some real maturity with our kids too, kids that maybe hygiene wasn't such a big thing as a freshman or a sophomore are now coming in and looking pretty good. And I give her a lot of credit for that. She also does some things, well, Goodwill does, Katrina's just the leader, with a summer program, and I mentioned this a year ago, but this year she continued that program. We've had kids, they've done some really wonderful things. They've worked at Angola High School and at Hamilton High School. They've done things with our custodial staff. They've done everything from cleaning baseboards and windowsills to picking gum off the bottom of things. And, you know, we had one student that was named a champion gum remover, and he did it with a smile on his face, and well, there you go. She had a couple of kids that worked at the Goodwill store. They helped pull clothing and donations. They cleaned things. They priced things, put them on the shelves, matched shoes, things like that in the sales floor. So they had some actual experience. And we also had a summer intern. He worked with a mechanic so he could learn some new tricks, and he was working about 20 hours a week. This summer, Goodwill had the opportunity to provide a stipend. They got a grant, and they gave our students $10 an hour to do these internship programs. So that's pretty amazing. So I wanted to share that with you. I know later in the evening, I'll come back up and ask you to give your blessing to continue this program. But for now, that's what I wanted to share with you. Do you have any questions for me?
Do some of the kids get work permits? I know underage, you have to be, get your work permit to be able to work certain hours.
Now, that's a good question, and I'm not 100% sure how to answer that question, but I do know she can help them fill out applications and things like that to get themselves lined up for that. So my best guess would be yes, she does.
Because I know underage kids, some of them want to get out and work and stuff, you know, but they have to have a work permit and
Yeah.
so many hours and only till certain hours and stuff, but I didn't know if that was part of the training, so I would definitely help.
Yeah, and I know this is supervised too. It does give them, I'm looking at the list of names she's given me, and some of them are older kids, or juniors and seniors, but there's a couple of younger ones on here too.
How many children are impacted with this program?
So the summer program, about 15. The school year-round program, I'm gonna say, well, about 30% at the high school, plus our ACE kids, plus, oh, and I almost failed to mention, she's also moved into the middle school, so she's working with 8th graders now. So I'm gonna say that's closing in on 70 kids. So it's a growing program. We started small with just a handful, and it's just gonna continue to grow. Anything else?
So anxious to get up here. Good evening, Board. Tonight I asked your approval to discontinue the use of our substitute handbooks. Again, the reason for this is pending your approval here in a second. MSD will partner with a new vendor, and they will be contracting our subs. So our current substitute handbook will no longer be relevant. If we go back to contracting our substitute teachers, then we would reinstate that to use it again, but right now, we will not need it at this time. So I ask for your approval to no longer use our sub-handbook.
Are there anything in our sub-handbook that would be specific to Angola that might not be covered under the corporation handbook?
Nothing that we saw. We do have some internal full-time subs that would fall under our classified, but not our substitute handbook that we would need at this time.
So they'd be covered under the classified handbook?
Well, our full-time subs that are in our building are our employees. These would not be. These would be with Will Sub, who will be our new vendor.
Is this classified or certified?
These are
This
for,
substitute handbook, is this for classified or certified?
our substitutes are not certified.
No, I mean like teacher subs. They're certified.
They are certified.
Okay, but is this handbook, is this for classified or certified?
They're not for certified. This wouldn't be certified
This is
because
just
these are
for
just,
like aides and stuff like that.
no, these are substitute teachers.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
I don't
it
think-
is certified.
And Mrs. Maggard, if you remember, we worked with, Mrs. Dorr and some of those subs and kind of putting, because one of the things the subs asked for, because we never had one, was a handbook. When do you show up? When do we dismiss? What does the school schedule look like? So we came up with all that. And it was phenomenal that Mr. Whiter, he worked with doing that. Now we'd like to go to Will Subservice where we don't hire the employees because subs, we were finding them. We just can't find enough of them. So one of the two plans that we came up with is really putting permanent subs in buildings right now. So each building has one sub in there to kind of help with that. But also working with Will Sub, and they'll go find the subs that will contract with our buildings and bring subs into our school corporation.
They will be signing paperwork with them.
Correct.
We no longer do anything with.
We do pay Region 8, so like, I want to have Dr. Penrod, when he comes up there, tells you a little bit more about subservice, approximately pay within about $10,000 a year just to have Region 8 and to do some of those things. The hard part is we work so hard to go and get subs, so for example, in May, I may have 5 teachers out at each one of our buildings. 6 times 5, that's 30 people out, and trying to find subs, we just didn't have enough of them in Region 8. And that's even with bumping up our sub monies up. I think the only one that beats us right now, and I have to go back and double check, but I think East Noel pays more than us by $5. So we're pretty high on the thing. But it's just getting people to come in there on certain days. We have some teachers or some subs who will say, I don't do high school and middle school, I just do elementary. We have some subs say, hey, I don't do the elementary, I do that. Will Sub takes a lot of that off of our principals, takes it off of our central office staff. They have some of those folks. So right now, I think they've gotten up to 15 or 17 subs, and they continue to get those going. So we'll make that shift after fall break to do that. And I want to say the money is similar to the $10,000 that we're paying, maybe a little bit less, but Dr. Penrod can kind of jump in on that. So we're just worried about putting the handbook just kind of on the back shelf right now.
We have a motion to put the handbook on the back shelf for now.
Make a motion to put handbook on the back shelf for now.
The vote, please.
Mr. Archibald?
Yes.
Mr. Beard?
Yes.
Mrs. Boots?
Yes.
Caswell,
Yes.
Ms. Maggart,
Yes.
Aye.
Mr. Ridenhour.
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Will sub approval, Dr. Penrod.
Thank you. So, a lot of the kind of the concept of will sub was discussed already. So basically, we would no longer employ the kind of day-to-day subs. We'd still keep our full-time subs. Important to note, to Mr. Ridenhour's point, we still set the rate of the subs. There's a percentage markup from will sub then. And so if we want to pay, you know, if we want to pay $100 a day, that's fine. They pass through that $100 and then they mark that $100 up to cover taxes, benefits, whatever else they offer. One of the good things about services like this, it does, to Dr. Weinover's point, it does take time, or puts time back into the schedule of principals, central office folks, that kind of thing. Also, a lot of times, when you talk to companies like this, they can do some things that are a little more creative for hiring, recruiting, retention, that kind of thing, that schools maybe can't. And so, so a lot of, maybe 5, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, a lot of schools started outsourcing their subs like this. From a service standpoint, I don't really see anything different. I mean, if we employed them one day and will sub employs the person the next, they still show up to school, to the same school at the same time. Just a matter of where their paycheck comes from. So, and then like any other employee-employer relationship, the liability falls on will sub, that kind of thing, for any kind of unemployment, any kind of work comp issues, anything like that flows through them. So, I believe we can terminate. There's a termination clause in there. I don't remember it, but we can terminate, you know, as we would see appropriate. But this is a pretty good direction to go as far as handling substitute teachers. Yeah, they have the same kind of requirements since they're placed in school. They have the same kind of requirements that we would. They just handle that a little differently as far as retention, recruiting, that kind of thing.
This is only for substitute teachers. That's what it's trying to.
And what we do see is a number of our fellow school corporations are kind of shifting to a will sub service. So there's a few of them around our area that have already started using it that we've had good conversation with. They seem to like it. So I don't think it hurts us. I think we try it and see what happens. If not, we go back to our old way, and, you know, we have things in place to do that. So, but I think it's worthwhile just trying it out, going in that direction.
Any other questions, comments? If not, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion, we approve the will sub.
I'll second.
And the vote, please?
Mr. Archbold,
Yes.
Mr. Beard,
Yes.
Ms. Boots,
Yes.
Mr. Caswell,
Yes.
Ms. Maggart,
Yes.
Aye.
Mr. Ridenhour.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Motion carries. Next up, Mrs. Barr, you're back. Goodwill and MSDSC Memorandum of Understanding.
Yeah. Yes, in your packets, there's a memorandum of understanding between Goodwill Industries of Northeast Indiana and the MSD of Steuben County. It does explain the organization's purpose and their scope of their MOU. The 5 tenets of the program, I kind of alluded to, but I'll read them from here. Job exploration counseling, work-based learning experiences, opportunity counseling and opportunities for enrollment in post-secondary institutions, workplace readiness, and instruction and self-advocacy. It really is a pretty powerful program. And with your permission, we will continue this MOU with Goodwill.
Thank you. Any questions? Do we have a motion?
I second.
The vote, please.
Mr. Archibald?
Yes.
Mr. Beard?
Yes.
Boots?
Yes.
Mr. Caswell?
Yes.
Maggart?
Yes.
Aye.
Mr. Ridenhour?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries 7-0. Next up, we have the common school loan approval. Dr. Manahan.
Good evening, school board. First of all, it's National IT Professionals Day, so I want to give a shout out to my incredible team on this fabulous day, Mrs. Weber and Mrs. Caller here. But also I wanted to ask your permission to apply for the common school loan. We have been doing this at least the last 9 years that I've been in this position. I believe even before that time as well. It is the majority of the funding that we use for our one-to-one technology Chromebook initiative. And under the common school loan, we receive $1,000 per student in our ADM count. Historically, it's been offered twice a year, but last year they moved it to just once in the spring. Whether they open that in the fall or the spring, I would like to ask for your permission to apply for that common school loan and to accept those funds to continue our one-to-one Chromebook initiative. $1,000 per ADM student count. The whole school system.
Every year, correct?
Every year. And we use that money for the Chromebooks, cases, the licenses that allow us to manage the Chromebooks and the users, also for our content filtering and historically for classroom displays as well. And now with the changes to textbook rental and no longer receiving money from our families, now it must cover all of the Chromebooks rather than just 2/3 of the Chromebooks. So that money is all expended every year, and we make sure that we have enough Chromebooks to keep everyone going, students, staff, teachers, custodians, IAs, everyone gets a Chromebook.
Do we have a motion?
I make a motion that we go ahead and approve for the common school loan.
I'll second that.
And the vote, please.
Mr. Archibald?
Yes.
Mr. Beard?
Yes.
Mrs. Boots?
Yes.
Mr. Caswell?
Yes.
Yes.
Aye.
Mr. Ridenhour?
Yes.
Motion carries. Out-of-state travel request, Carlin Park, Henry Park to Souter Village in Archbold, Ohio. Dr. Wiedenover.
Board, is that time of the year for out-of-state field trips, especially to Souter Village. You do have two requests, one from Carlin Park, Mrs. Priller, and the other one from Henry Park from Mr. Stellhorn to travel to Souter Village, which is in Archbold, Ohio. So I ask for your approval for those.
So fifth grade at Carlin Park and then second grade at Henry Park are the groups going this year, so far.
So we're not sending hundreds of kids to Souter Village.
Correct.
Take over the place, okay.
Motion.
I move to approve the out-of-state transportation.
I'll second.
And the vote, please.
Mr. Archibald?
Yes.
Mr. Beard?
Yes.
Boots?
Yes.
Mr. Caswell?
Yes.
Maggart?
Yes.
Mr. Poor?
Aye.
Mr. Ridenhour?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries. Next up, permission to issue adjunct licensure. Dr. Relu.
Board, last month, you announced for us the position opening for an adjunct teacher for our STEAM position. We've recommended Taylor Rigsby for that position, and we would like to recommend this evening that you approve her adjunct license. That's a license that's issued for 1 year, and it is issued by you, but that makes her a licensed teacher to be able to continue that position this year. You do not. You do not. It is helpful that, in this case, we have someone who does have a degree and who has experience working in the field, but it requires 4 years of experience in the field or a degree in a like field.
Do Do we have a motion?
I make a motion, we go ahead and approve.
Second.
And the vote, please.
Mr. Archibald?
Yes.
Mr. Beard?
Yes.
Booth? Yes. Mr. Caswell?
Yes.
Mrs. Maggart?
Yes.
Mr. Poor?
Aye.
Mr. Ridenhour?
Yes.
Motion carries. Next would be the permission to post an adjunct Montessori teacher position at Pleasant Lake. Dr. Raylu.
So Board, I'm asking your permission to announce another adjunct position, and then we'll bring a recommendation for a candidate and licensure next month. We have kind of a unique situation at the Montessori school. One of our candidates who applied for emergency permit, the Department of Education asked, because her bachelor's and master's degrees are both from a country outside the United States, for that to have an international transcript review. That's a long process, and we will not have that back likely before the start of the 25, not 25 school year, but January probably. And so we want to make sure we go ahead and get that candidate licensed while we're waiting on that very lengthy process for her emergency permit to be approved. So this is a way for us to make sure that the candidate we've hired and has already been trained is licensed for us.
Do we have a motion?
Make.
The vote, please.
Mr. Archibald?
Yes.
Mr. Beard?
Yes.
Ms. Booth? Yes. Mr. Caswell?
Yes.
Maggart?
Yes.
Mr. Poor?
Aye.
Ridenhour?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Motion carries. Lastly, of new business is the PCAP program approval. Dr. Raylu.
So, Board, I'm asking your permission this evening to approve a PCAP program. That's Pathway to Careers and Post-Secondary. That is in partnership with CEL out of the University of Indianapolis. CEL applied for a grant to the Don Wood Foundation, so this is like four pieces connecting, to provide funding for the PCAP program. We were one of the schools, Angola High School, invited to join in that application. They have selected us to be able to move forward with that, so we would like the board to approve the participation in the program and also our accepting of the funds. So that is $55,000 for this year and for next year, so $110,000 in funding to support the program, which will include teacher training, and then anything that we need for the project-based learning that will take place in the PCAP classrooms, and then also support for equipment for our advanced manufacturing pathway. So you've got details in your packet about PCAP. It launches, the first meeting is next week, Indianapolis. So I'm excited to be able to recommend this program to you and hopefully get your approval for them to move forward with that.
We have a motion.
I make a motion, we go ahead and accept the PCAP program.
I second.
And the vote, please.
Mr. Archibald?
Yes.
Mr. Beard?
Yes.
Ms. Booth? Yes. Mr. Caswell?
Yes.
Ms. Maggart?
Yes.
Mr. Poor?
Aye.
Mr. Ridenhour?
Yes.
Board, yes, thank you very much. I want to give, just to speak a little bit about, the school threats that seem to be prevalent that are going around the area and around the state. I really appreciated Chief Whitmire being here, and I want to give a shout out to both the Angola Police Department and the Steuben Sheriff's Department. I think you heard it tonight. they have been wonderful to work with everything that kind of goes on from notifications to communicating to being reactive and being in our buildings. They have been phenomenal from both the Sheriff's Department and the Angola Police Department. We have just a good reminder that we have 2 SROs in our buildings. And, you know, as much as we have 2 of them, I'd love to have another 4 of them to put in every one of our buildings. It's kind of, it's scary a little bit, and it's scary for our families. And what I will tell you is I give a huge shout out to our teachers, because our teachers are really that first line of defense and have done a fantastic job of sometimes meeting parents at the front door or meeting kids who might be nervous and scared. And they have stepped up and done a phenomenal job of helping calm those fears and communicate and do those kinds of things. Huge shout out to parents and the students, because one of the things, and you've heard us say this over and over, when you see something or you hear something, you got to get out there and talk to us or say something. Our kids have been extremely proactive with doing those, whether they see things on Snapchat or they see things on the internet or they talk to friends. It becomes hugely impactful for parents to sit down and have great conversations with kids. We have to do better jobs as moms and dads and parents and educators in making sure that we're talking to kids about the importance of how you use social media and what you put on social media. Because sometimes other people don't know whether you're joking or you're not. And unfortunately, we had to deal with 2 separate situations over the last couple of days. You know, our friends on the other side of us, Prairie Heights, has dealt with this. Our friends at Whitco are dealing with this. Our friends at New Haven. I can go on and on and on. But we have a great safety team. We have great people in place to help with some of those things. So I encourage parents and I encourage every one of us to sit down with your children and have those good conversations about the impact that those words or those posts can have on a school district. So we continue to get better. One of the great things that I will tell you that we do after each crisis or each thing that we have is we bring our safety team, we bring our administrators in, and we sit down with law enforcement, both with the Sheriff's Department, with officers in the Angola Police Department. What went well? What could we do better? What can we improve on? And we learn something new each and every time that we do those things. Those things are impactful. MSD leads the charge when we talk about getting community, and we take our county and we have safety commission meetings. We house those at our high school. We bring in the different communities from Fremont, from Hamilton, from Prairie Heights, from town managers. We have those good conversations on how do we better support each other in case there's a crisis. So those conversations are out there. They're never pleasant to have, but they're necessary to have. So I'm super proud of the teamwork between our school district, other school districts, and with our law enforcement folks on how hard they work to make sure that our schools and our communities, our kids, our teachers, and everybody stays safe. So my hat's off to them, but again, I push hard to everybody. We got to do better with our kids, letting them know about the pitfalls that sometimes social media can be out there. I'd also go back with parents a little bit. We have to mentor for our kids, and sometimes Facebook is an easy way to get our frustrations and put things out there that we just kind of say because we're emotionally charged. Sometimes I caution everybody to take a minute or take a day and collect your thoughts and let the facts come out before we just go out there on Facebook and social media and things like that. We're always willing to have conversations with you. But it's taking that extra minute and just kind of looking at the priorities and kind of going through and say, these are the facts of the matter, this is what we've done, and kind of move forward with those things. So again, super proud of my teachers. I know a lot of them are in here and deal with a lot of those. We're still dealing with some of those things, making sure that our kids are taken care of. We do have things like the Bowen Center at the Northeastern Center for any of our kids who need those kinds of things. And then we have a great group of guidance counselors who are always available out there who will service our kids at any time. But again, a huge shout out to everybody in these times that sometimes we have to deal with, unfortunately.
Thank you. Board member communication, I echo what Dr. Wiedenhofer said, you know, Angola Police Department, the Sheriff's Department, I mean, the response that they have to everything, no matter how minute you might think it is, they respond in full force we don't all see what's going on, hear what's going on, but it's happening. And there's a reason why we don't all need to know what's going on when it's happening, obviously. So basically supporting them, I would say, I know my kids, they are so tired of me for so many years talking about social media. It used to be, don't post pictures like that because they're out forever when you do it. Well, now it's just sharing a comment on Snapchat that you think disappears after you share it. Stuff doesn't disappear. It's looked at and it's reported. So just talking to the kids, because you hear of different states, I'm sure everyone saw the sheriff down in Orlando, Florida, his speech. If you haven't heard that one yet, that's an eye-opener. But basically saying kids are going to go to jail and parents are going to pay for the price and the cost of doing it. Because the last thing we ever want to see is someone making a joke or doing something, pulling resources away, and now a real emergency happens and someone dies or something happens that's not related, but it's because everyone was focused on the kids, which is awesome that they are. But our staff, everyone, I mean, just how they react to everything, I was blown away with the last couple of weeks of how well everyone does. So thank you to everyone there. Anyone else? All right. All right. All right. There's no further business before the board. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Second?
And the vote, please.
Mr. Archibald?
Yes.
Mr. Beard?
Yes.
Ms. Booth? Yes. Mr. Caswell?
Yes.
Maggart?
Yes.
Ford? Ridenhour?
Yes.